Apologies for the tardiness. As you know, I'm going to blame the producer. I'm not going to take the blame myself. How are you guys this morning? I hope you guys are okay. Apologies definitely for the tardiness. Over the past, what's the doctor's surgery about? The doctor's surgery is Britain's first Black current affairs show, and all we cover as much as we can all the issues that have been pertinent in the news over the past week. And by going through those issues, we look at the nuances and clarify the things that are unsaid or said in a subtle way within the context of things, for us as a people. So it's about looking at things from a current affairs perspective, just to get that greater grasp of what is going on within the media and the media outset. If you want to take part in the show, the call-in line is 0753 996 8143. I'll give it again, 0753 996 8143. Text line, same number, 0753 996 8143. So that's a calling and texting line if you want to take part in the show. We'd love to hear from you. It's not about being in agreement and not giving us a call. If you agree, give us a call. If you disagree, give us a call. We have a lot to go through within the context of the show. Um, so, what are we going to be talking about today? What's been taking place in the past week of interest in the media? Well, we know that they've taken down that statue over there in Bristol. I have no problems with that because I don't know who that crazy lady thought she was, and I'm going to say it as such. As much as we all stand up for the struggle, if we're going to put someone on a plinth for remembrance, it needs to be someone that has gone through the process of making that sacrifice and putting themselves in that firing line for our cause. It can't just be some random, and I don't mean it in a disrespectful way, but I'm going to say as it is, it can't just be some random person who thinks they've won the lottery by jumping up on a plinth to be remembered time memorial in the city of Bristol. That's not how it works, unfortunately. And if anyone's going to be up on that plinth, it should be someone noteworthy so that it gives our young people, it gives everyone, our young people and wider field, the right message to say that you'll be remembered for great works, positive works, and not just remembered because you jump up on a plinth in a random chance. We need to recognize hard work and give credit to hard work, give credit to sacrifice, and that is how we will drive initiative and motivation for the youngsters to work hard. It's just like how youngsters will see gangster culture as something that gets them to a certain point and place in terms of the rewards. Guys might see that it gets them girls, it gets them money, it gets them to have the nice things that they really want. We have to kind of glorify other dimensions of life to say that you can achieve greatness and achieve good positive goals in life through positive means. And that's a message that has to be done, um, you know openly and clearly, not just not also subtly, not just by random chance. And that's one of the things why I have no issues with that statue coming down in that sense. And hopefully the council over there in Bristol will put up someone that's noteworthy for remembrance. Someone that made the ultimate sacrifice along the way. Whether they dedicated their life or significant portion of their life or even their life to helping us to get where we are today in the liberties, the civil liberties we have to the extent that and degree that we have it, and we continue to push for a fair treatment, a level playing field, you know. So that's one of the things that we can discuss, in and around that. The Black Lives Movement matter. There's so much still taking place in that. For those who don't know, there's a great momentum now where I know the Black Lives movement, the Black Lives Matter movement is garnering a lot of attention global, from a global perspective. One of the things that is of concern is that all the money that's been raised by the Black Lives Matter movement is going towards white political affiliations, and that's something that we need to be mindful of. That we need to re, we need to retake the initiative so that the Black Lives Matter movement helps us both in terms of the legislative procedure and politically, but as well as financially. It's crazy that in the United States alone, 120 million so far, when I last checked over a month or two ago, over 120 million had gone to the Joe Biden campaign of black people, of people donating to the Black Lives Matter movement. So you're donating for a black cause, and 120 million is going to Joe Biden. Creepy Joe, as President Trump would call him. That I don't think is a worthwhile use of the money. But when you check how the infrastructure of the Black Lives Matter movement is, you have to be mindful that whilst it is a movement that is doing a lot of positive things in terms of getting attention to the cause, there's also aspects of it that is not quite what it should be. Money going to places where it's nothing to do with us. It's nothing to do with us whatsoever. And we have to kind of be mindful of that. We need to take back the reins of this movement and make sure that it works for us, because so many other affiliative groups are trying to also be a part of that. And it's not about, that side of things. It's about us as a people having just and fairness, and not for it to be derailed because of sexuality or because of religiosity or whatever the other reasons why everyone's trying to jump on the black cause, because it's always us that seems to fuel every other cause. We seem to be the pawn, as they say, the human race. Everyone tends to use us as that pawn within the race to achieve their goals and destinies. We go back to the 90s. We know that Jamaican culture was hit hard when musically it was growing, and that certain a couple songs that no one was really acting on, fueled a movement that seemed to, tear down a lot of the proponents of the music that were people coming out of a ghetto, a poverty-stricken situation where they were trying to do better for themselves and the nation. Granted, they may have taken a pathway that shouldn't have been taken, but you have to look at the context at the time as in greater detail. And no one was being harmed because, like, when you see the documentaries, in the documentaries they say that everyone were in these parties and they were dancing to these music in their own parties. So no one was being harmed. So when someone heard the lyrics and the lyrics was translated, all of a sudden it became a problem, but yet no one was being harmed for it to become a problem. Whereas our issues in terms of, as the for using, for a lack of a better word right now, because this is the one that's working, in terms of our ways, Black Lives Matter, as they would say. Um, you have how can I put it? You have people actually being harmed. There's so many black lives that's being destroyed due to racism. due to prejudices within society. There's so much greatness that's been deprived, so much youth, black youths, both male and female, that's been deprived of their greatness because they were demotivated due to prejudices and racism. You know, their greatness cut short because someone saw the, for lack of a better way of saying it, because someone saw the light shining in these individuals, and because of their prejudices, they went above and beyond to try and tear these individuals down. And it's a shame. You know, this is where we have to say, right, let's set things correct. Let's set the record straight with these things and get things to be flowing in the right manner and in the right ways so that we can grow as a people within society, you know. And this is where we have to say we have to take back the mantle, take back our hard work and our efforts in getting there. You know, I forgot to announce, you know, this is Omega 104.1 if you're listening by the airwaves. We're also live tuning radio, omegafmradio.co.uk, also mixcloud.com/omega DJ, and on YouTube, we're the Doctor's Surgery. If you go onto YouTube, you Google the doctor. Sorry, let me start again. You go onto YouTube and you search the Doctor's Surgery, then go to filter channels, and then click on that, and then we will be the one at the top, TBS, the Doctor's Surgery. You'll see it in black and white, bold in front of your face. You know, you can watch live within the studio. Did I say that correctly? Okay. Yeah, so that's the Doctor's Surgery. So, rolling on to other matters, health. You know, one of the things I highlighted last week, that was highlighted last week was that we have to take the COVID-19 pandemic as a significant, or pandemic, whichever one you want to use, as a significant warning sign towards our community and our community health. Now, the fact that it's a significant warning sign to our community and community health is what have you done health wise since then to what have you done health wise since then to actually improve your situation? And the reason I say that, I was listening to the news and I'm hearing that over the past few weeks, I've been hearing the news saying that a lot of people have been having significant impact and woes because they're not being able to follow up on appointments with their doctors, with their GPs, or with the hospital due to the COVID pandemic in relation to their well being. And it was said, it's been announced that cancers, people dying from cancers, will significantly increase. Now, that sparked another thought to say, well, we know if we go back to like 2012, it was announced that by 2025, that there would be a significant marginal increase in the numbers of people in the UK that would be getting cancers. And at the time, the ratio of black to white was significantly higher amongst black people getting cancers. So now, if they're saying that far more people are going to be dying from cancers in the next 5 years, it's making me think then, well, you, the individual listening audience, which will be a predominantly black audience, as well as the white listeners and other people from other nations listening in, you know, but to the predominant majority listening audience, what are you doing to address these underlying health concerns that are constantly growing within our community? You know, what are you individually doing? Because it starts with the individual. Once you make yourself healthier, then you know you stand a better chance to combat COVID 20, any resurgence of the COVID virus, whether it's planned or by nature's design, that may occur this winter. What are you doing to combat the rise of cancers, you know, so that you reduce the likelihood of these things happening? How much do you know about cancers? How much do you know about health? because I say that because when we look at health and health issues, over the years of speaking to a lot of people about health related issues, one of the biggest problems that a lot of people always have is they always perceive themselves as healthy. And I always say to individuals, how so? I'm looking for um, that sweet spot that I can turn and say I'm healthy. I do my best, but that's I do my best, but how and why would people say they're healthy? So when I ask people, how do they eat and so forth, they will say they eat in a healthy way. And when you ask, you get so much different answers toward healthy. So healthiness is like a religion. When you ask a Christian or someone from the religious community, they'll tell you something. They all give you a different story as to, or a different reasoning as to why they see things in the way they see it. And it's not to say they're wrong or right, but it's just to kind of get a greater grasp of understanding. And when you ask people about health, it's the same thing. It's all, you get different reasons. So you'll have people say, well, they eat their proteins, their carbs, and so forth. And then you have people say, well, they eat the things that people say that they should eat as a staple diet, the dairy and all these things. So a lot of people aren't aware of the detrimental impact of certain things in their diet. They will see carbs and proteins and that basic rendition of a diet as something healthy. When you take it to a greater degree and extent, you start to realize that is far from healthy, as far being far from healthy can be. When people talk about dairy and eating cheese and saying cheese is healthy, again, a significant concern. But it's not for me to tell you what is healthy. I can, but it's not for me to tell you what is healthy from what isn't healthy. It's for me to say, look into it so you learn what's the best foods to give you the best chances to keep that factory of your body going, where it can produce all the things that it needs by getting the correct raw material in it. That's the best way I can put it. Don't run in the wrong direction, run in the right direction. Everyone's trying to run in the direction where they eat what they want, and then if they have any problems, they can go to the doctor and get a pill, as opposed to eating so they don't have to go to the doctor and get a pill. Because as we can see, how the doctors have treated us during, or let me rephrase that, as we can see how the health service has treated us people in relation to when things become dire and detrimental. So if it's highlighted these concerns even greater. um, with the COVID-19 issue on a whole, I spoke to a friend of mine that's in the health profession, and they were saying that there was a research. I haven't seen the research as yet, so I'm going by secondhand information, which is a rarity, but I didn't get the chance to look it up. But I will share it nonetheless. They said there's research out of Italy that says that there shouldn't be a second wave or a third wave, because the virus is the virus weakens over time. So over the evolutionary process of the virus, it weakens. So it's, whilst in its first phase, the first phase will be the most detrimental and the most potent. But as time goes on, the impact of the virus with those people that it would have killed, it becomes more like a bad or serious flu, and then it minimizes over time. That the impact gets less and less and less and less. However, that's research and statistics, and it doesn't always sit that is the case. Someone else could do a repeat study and find the complete other result. So it doesn't mean you shouldn't be taking care of yourself. It just means that COVID-19 has highlighted the poor health standard and hygiene standard that was in the UK. Whilst we may have the hygiene, we had the poor health. whereas society on a whole, the hygiene standards were atrocious. So we have to kind of take all those things on a weighting and think significantly about them. Um, what else about the COVID-19 before I roll on? Is there anything else? Yeah, I want to also touch on one more thing on the COVID-19 before I roll on. We've noticed that the BBC seems to have received a lot of free reign to discuss things that a lot of other broadcasters weren't able to, especially during lockdown. Perhaps due to the fact that they wanted to get lockdown done and they didn't want anything to be counter intuitive towards that. So during lockdown, they just wanted one message, and that is what the government was saying, and they didn't want any counterproductivity. But yet, I don't understand why telling someone what they should do to best boost their immune system would be counterproductive. But nonetheless, the BBC seemed to have received corns blanc, as the saying goes, however that term is pronounced, to just put to push out information that no one else could touch on. One of the information that the BBC was talking about over the past week was the COVID-19 conspiracies, and one of those was the link with the COVID-19 virus and Bill Gates. And they were talking about, and I'm quoting what took place on the BBC. They were talking about that it's a conspiracy, and they don't know where the conspiracy comes from, linking Bill Gates with COVID-19. And when they ask people, they would say that Bill Gates designed the coronavirus, and that the patent is owned by the Pierbright institution, which the Bill Gates owns or has a vast interest to. Um, I might not be getting the exact terms but this is, you can go back and probably watch it on Catch Up or iPlay on the BBC and see that report. And so they were saying that this is being debunked because um, whilst Bill Gates whilst there was a patent owned by the Pierbright organization or company, it wasn't the same coronavirus as the coronavirus that is affecting us now. And Bill Gates' interest in the Pierbright and did confirm that Bill Gates has an interest in the Pierbright organization. Now, I thought that report was one of the stupidest reports I've ever heard. I just, when I sat there, I thought that at no time did I hear any theory out there that Bill Gates had the patent for the coronavirus that was affecting people. That was not what people were saying. And if anyone interpreted it as that, then I can understand the BBC setting the record straight. But for free thinkers that can think, the people that were pushing that information out, no one was saying that. People were saying that it proves that they've been playing about and meddling with the coronavirus all this time. That once you got a patent on something, you cannot patent a naturally occurring virus. That was the point that was being highlighted. If it's a virus that is naturally occurring, you cannot patent it because it's naturally occurring. How can you patent something in nature? You cannot patent a naturally occurring. It's like a herb. You can't patent a herb. You can take a herb, copy it, and synthesize it, and make little changes to it in its biochemistry and design, and patent that. But you cannot patent something that's naturally occurring in nature. That's not how patents work. Patents work on a unique design, something that you brought to the forefront that is unique to what the situation is. So if they're patenting a coronavirus, that means they've been able to manipulate the virus so that they could play around with it. And that was the point. So whilst they're complaining that oh, it's a different virus. The fact of the matter is, what people are highlighting is that they were playing around with this virus. And it goes back to the time when, if you all recall, with France and the Ebola virus back in 2011, was it? When France had the patent for the Ebola virus, and all of a sudden, when that strain knocked out in West Africa, the last time it made worldwide news in a major way, they were able to ramp up and come up with a treatment so quickly for that strain of Ebola virus. So it makes it suspicious. It makes it suspicious, and for him to have such a, 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 a vast interest in this. And so you have to wonder, you have companies that are now all racing to make a vaccine. And a lot of these companies that are racing to make a vaccine, they're racing to make a vaccine of the prior research that was there for the coronavirus. That prior research that was there for the coronavirus, these patents are held by these organizations. That's the whole point. So it becomes a money factor. So for Oxford to reach so far in their coronavirus activity, it meant that wherever Oxford got the prior research and the prior virus to analyze and test and to understand, they had to use the information that was there when they, from the groups that were playing around with the virus before the pandemic or the pandemic. They had to use that research. So that group there will be getting that done the background, the foundation studies. They will be getting millions, if not billions, based on patents to certain understanding of how the virus behaves, because they will manipulate the virus genetically so that they can play around to see how the virus will behave in certain situations. This information is utilized, and if it's all naturally occurring, then fine. But this information is utilized in the current to tackle the so-called naturally occurring strain as it is now. So it makes you wonder, are the reporters idiots on the BBC? Are they just idiots that just want to say something and sound like they're clever, like they've done a great piece of work? Or is it an agendified piece? That's something that we have to sit and ask ourselves. You know what I mean? Because they can be idiots. They don't sound very smart at all when you listen to them. They do sound like a bunch of idiots. Like they just try. And whilst Bill you get what I'm saying? It's not about sweet talk. You can't sweet talk me. I ain't 5 years old. You don't promise me some sweeties. You get me? Even when I was 5 and you promised me sweetie, I tell you where to put your sweetie. So this is the thing. We have to start thinking, and we have to start looking after ourselves, because all I really want to say, who said that? Michael Jackson. All I really want to say is they don't really care about us. You get what I'm saying? So you have to care about yourself. You have to care about yourself. You have to look out for yourself. So what are you doing to improve your situation? Are you exercising? Do you exercise? Whether it's brisk walk, so age on some of us may not allow some of us to do certain things. Financial constraints might prevent some of us from going to the gym. But a walk, a brisk walk is free. A regulated diet is free. You don't have to be eating the perfect meal, but if you eat in a certain way, have a certain cycle around how you eat, all these things will improve your well-being, generally speaking. Are you keeping hydrated? Are you taking in those fluids, the right fluid? Or are you drinking the hard liquor and the hard liquor only, and the juices, the sugary drinks? We have to take things in our hands, because you don't know where the truth lies. Like I'm saying, the BBC report could be 100% facts in what they, well, we've debunked that. But what I'm saying is the BBC information could be genuine in its intent. You see what I'm saying? It could be genuine in its intent. We don't know because we're not in that privileged position to know. And unless you have information to research and look at it and then make your own informed choices, you know, you have to rely on someone giving that information. And so what can you control? You can control your own surroundings, your own well-being. Because when you listen to them talking about these vaccines, there's so much different vaccines coming from different areas and different directions. I know since I've been a child in the 80s, I've been hearing them talking about a vaccine for HIV/AIDS. And to this date, they haven't found one. And yet, overnight, and in the greater scheme of things, when I say overnight, it makes it sound like overnight, because if they just started looking for a vaccine, in reality, we know that because they've been playing around with the virus, they were looking at various vaccine measures over the years, or since when those patents started to roll in. So whether it was shrewd planning, and we can call it shrewd and wise planning, giving them the benefit of the doubt there, we can call it shrewd and wise planning, or we can call it getting ready to their little plans. Either, it still equates to the fact that in the greater scheme of things, overnight, they're saying, yeah, we're going to find a vaccine. All right. Okay. Have a good one with it. I hope it is able to help people and, have a great success rate in helping people and nothing else. That's all I can say about that. So that's on the COVID. So please, people, take time to look after yourself, do the best you can. Right. What's the next level of things? So that's the COVID. We'll come back to that later. John Lewis, not the shop. The civil rights activist. I don't know his work. I don't know what he's done. But anyone that's taking time out of their time to help us and fight for us as a people, whether it's wherever we are in the world. And John Lewis was a civil rights activist in the United States. So Google, have a look at him, find out what he's done. He passed away over the past week, and it's quite, so we pay our respects to anyone that stood in our corner, black, white, pink, purple, or blue, we pay our respects to when they make that journey, so have a look at John Lewis and, give him some respect with the respect is deserved, because he's made that transition to the ancestors. Also, I don't know much about this. I was hoping for the producer to expand on it, but I don't think the producer wants to expand on anything because I think she's a bit upset that blamed her for arriving late or something. I don't know. You know. Prince Harry. I know that Prince Charles made a speech. I don't know when that was recorded, but I saw a recording of talking about us as a people getting on together and moving forward in a structured way. I think it's very recent because the way that it was presented, it sounds as if it was over recent weeks or months or possibly days, where that recording was made in terms of us going forward as an entity. I know I was made aware that by the producer that Prince Harry had uh, come out with his wife Meghan, and they were talking about Britain's history, and that Britain really, in a sense, had a racist historical past, and they were highlighting these things. I know that again, as per normal, I was told, I haven't seen it. Let me rephrase that. I was told that the media responses and the public media responses in that were the expected public media responses from racist white Britain. And I don't, I'm not quite sure. Would you like to elaborate what that is? What the media presence was on that? No. So the general gist and feedback from that. So I don't know if you guys know about it. If anyone would like to share, I was told the general feedback from that was that Meghan was condemned to be the cause for why her husband was speaking that way. So it's like they're saying that the husband can't think for himself. It's this witch of a black woman that's come and beguiled the great Prince Harry like a serpent and devil she is. Are you going to help me say this thing, or come on? See, go on. What was that?
Meghan doesn't claim herself to be black. She claims herself to be mixed.
Meghan doesn't claim herself to be black. What does that mean? I don't understand what you mean when you say that.
She's both white and black.
That she's both.
She's multiracial.
But technically, according to how things are defined these days, she is.
Exactly.
Yeah, but the media doesn't see her as that. She could see herself as that. But
I understand that.
Everyone
just because someone else sees you as that doesn't mean that you are that. And the way that she's expressed herself or portraying herself as a mixed woman. So you can't say to her that she's black because that's not what she's presenting herself to be.
So she can't present herself that she's black.
No, you called her a black woman. And I'm saying she doesn't call herself a black woman.
I don't care what she wants to call herself. Because she's a bit stupid about herself, it don't mean that I'm going to follow her.
Who are you to say that?
Me to say that because me can talk when I want to talk. What would you say about her then? Go on. Where would you say she lied on the fence?
No, I'm just saying the way that she's portrayed herself is that she's saying that she's a mixed woman. That's fair enough. That's all I'm saying. So for you to say that she's a black woman, I'm just saying that's not quite correct because that's not how she's portraying herself.
All right. So let me ask this question then. How does society see Meghan?
So you're saying because
no, I'm asking. No, I'm not implying anything. I'm just asking a question.
It depends where you are.
So society, it depends on where you are. Yeah. How does British society see Meghan?
In fact, they view her as mixed as well. I think they acknowledge that they're mixed because when I've heard it, they said that basically it comes down to the fact. I can't remember what that woman that was on I'm a Celebrity, Lady C, was saying how Britain was very welcoming of Meghan because of her mixed heritage. So they view her as mixed. Well, yeah, they view her as mixed. So I think that's the case of.
So you're saying then because Lady C, whoever that is, I don't know who that is, and I'm not trying to be rude to Lady C. So Lady C saw the fact that Britain, Paula, you're going to go live?
Yeah, man, I'm live and chicken. The sun is up.
Yes, you're energized. Go on. Good morning. What would you like to add today, Paula? I recognize the voice. I'm not even going to say, what would you like to add today?
Yeah, bless, man. I just was listening to the conversation, and I just must say that I got argument one time with one DJ radio station before. I forget her name now when you did, but what I said to that, is that if I am indigo, my blood, I hear everything. Because you cover your hair as well, your hair is your bloodline kind of thing. That's what shows. That's why us is the only person now and everybody else have made,
right.
Whatever they would call that. Anyway, if I am mixed, say for instance, I am crack green in the sense, of course, it's where I come down is what counts. You can't say because you say that the indigo is the dominant one, that I'm automatically indigo. No, it can't be that. It can't be that because if I'm sugar start, you know what I mean? This where the salt said, this is where the salt is, and where the sugar is, this is where the sugar is. So if I'm mixed and I say I'm Caucasian, that's why I am. If I'm mixed and I say I am indigo, that's where I am. That is life within me. That's what it is.
Yeah, I hear you, but yeah, well, I'm gonna open up can of worms now because of what you both are saying in a sense, right? I'm gonna open a can of worms now, and this is the can of worms I'm going to open. When we look at the Black Lives Matter movement, when we look at general society in the UK, whether we're looking in sports, Formula One, or wider field, most, not all, most, even the mayor of Bristol, most people that people perceive as black people that are leading the spearhead of this Black Lives Matter movement globally are then by definition not black, mixed. How do we feel about a mixed spearhead representing a black cause? Because whilst a mixed individual will have some experience of the pain, they will also have it where there's easier opportunities on their behalf, whether we want to say that's right or wrong, but that's a fact in terms of the brown paper bag approach. So I think general society calls it, what they call it? What's the term you used? I'm asking the producer. What's the term that they use when you say black women don't get that representation because of no, they said the color thing, the colorism. Is it colorism? So how do we feel about that? Is colorism then going to derail the true black cause because of who is representing the spearhead, who's allowed to go through the door to speak? You know, whereas the dark blacks should stay in the background and shut up and let those that are more accepted speak? Or should everyone be able to have a voice and sound which side of the fence they're standing on at what point, and respect the fact that their experiences, you know, whilst are similar, you know, we all on the same path, they shouldn't belittle the others. Because I see a lot of that taking place where what dark-skinned black people are facing is sometimes belittled by their very own who are.
I still think you got on the conversation somewhere. You just often we're talking about if Megan said that she is Caucasian. Who is I argue to say that? I mean, how you come up with that? Give us the definition as to why you said that she can't be what she says she is, and a mixed person we're talking about.
All right. So let me ask you a question then. So I'm using this as an example. So a man that says he's a woman, is he a woman in terms of what you see with his gender?
No, but that's different though, because hold
on. The reason I'm saying that, right, is because someone says there's something and they define themselves as something, we all can do that. I can define myself as white then if so be the case. Because along my family's history, somewhere along the line, one of my family might have been raped by a white person along the road. What do you mean not?
Well, all of us that most of us anyway, you can say that.
How is it not fair, go on?
So why would you define a mixed person as them? If I'm mixed Caucasian and indigo, what would you define me as to what the reason causes to define me as?
You know, I've always seen black people as black people, and I think that, you know, we're different shades within that. So even if someone's mixed, you know, I see them as black people. What I am also weary of, however, is the historical positions such categorizations have led to. You know, we know that historically, if we go back into the olden days, we know that historically that's what contributed to the fall of Africa. Not blaming them, but this is how history records it, because they were the ones that were able, the Arabs mixed in, and it was these children that then went on and betrayed the darker skin because of,
Well,
again,
not only that,
ancient colorism.
the kind of graphics as well. The
Right.
the darker one to get
Right.
more lighter one. Okay,
Right.
I know that. I've been researching that for forever. Okay.
Mhm.
But I still can't understand why would you just up and say that somebody that has a mixture of blood become just one person? If you can explain that to us, like in the sense of blood, why the bloodline become the okay, so why you say that the bloodline of the indigo is more dominant, and that's where you basing your facts on?
We can lean very much to that if we're looking at it from a genetics point of view. To say it's what is shown genetically, and you mentioned something that's very crucial: the hair texture. It's I'm saying where depending on where you sit on the fence, your hair texture is a certain way.
No, you can define that as logic. No, we can have a conversation and you base it at a point now, and that's because your hair is your DNA right there. Your DNA structure. Okay, so let's go by that then. Now we can have a conversation. Now base it on that now. Try and explain that now to us then. Because now we know that she don't have our hair texture.
Oh, she does to some degree. It's because she straightens and perms her hair while it looks.
I don't think we know what her hair texture
So do
is.
you know how original hair texture? Do you know that? I mean,
I've seen pictures of her hair texture in a natural state. It's not. It wouldn't be like it wouldn't be like what the producer would call 4C. It's not 4C here, right? It's not coarse. However, it's like big curls. So it doesn't denote a deep down Negroid blackness, but it denotes, yes, a mixed heritage where there's Negroid there.
Okay, but you would say that the hair, the Negro hair thing, I think because okay, you said that that's more dominant.
Yes, her hair isn't thin straight as it's presented in, that's her, going by the aquiline features that she has, with the hairstyle that she's chosen to adapt.
Okay, I'm going to come out the line then. So just continue explaining a little bit more of that for us so that we can, we can draw some extension now. Don't go after the point. Well, this argument needs to be told because every that goes to me, oh, how I do everyone. Or everyone that I have been, I can only talk about what I have been. That is mixed. Always say that they come down on the side of their Caucasian. Some come down and say they confused, but most of them always want to be and Caucasian. Besides, other people know that I know that it's not that always say, oh, okay, but not only indigo people say that as well as they are black, but also the Caucasian will say that they are black as well. So I would just like to know what is the definition that they're going by. All right, so
okay. All right, no problem, Kola. All right, no problem.
Good start.
All right, good stuff.
Yeah, the sun is there for you as well. The sun is nice and very powerful. Bless my energy.
All right, give thanks.
Yeah, give thanks to the lady as well.
Thanks.
Yeah, so if you want to take part, it's 0753 996 8143. I'll give it again. 0753 996 8143. Are you yourself mixed heritage? And if you are, where do you sit on the side of the fence? It's like black or black to me, you get me? But again, you see that a lot of people looking at it that I might be wrong. So if you're mixed heritage, I'd love to hear from you. You know what I'm saying? How do you see yourself and how would you like to be viewed? Because when we look at someone like Lewis Hamilton, who's of mixed heritage and he recognizes from mixed heritage, he predominantly sees himself as black because of how he's been treated along the path. So is it how an individual is treated along the way growing up that's in a mixed heritage scenario? Is it how they treated along the way that denotes how they then perceive themselves, or they perceive themselves as black, mixed heritage, or leaning more towards white. Because when we look at all of them, those that have gone through hardship, because I remember when I first heard of the mayor of Bristol, I heard the mayor of Bristol is black. When I saw the BBC documentary on the mayor of Bristol, it turned out the mayor of Bristol is mixed heritage. But he sees himself as black. When he was interviewed and he was talking about his experience, he said he was, whilst he was growing up with a white family, it was made clear to him when he was out in public about the color of his skin. So as a result, it's how he sees himself. The mentality of what blackness and whiteness is a different story, because we can look at skin color, we can look at mentality, and we can look at behavior. We have black, as the caller would say, indigo. We have jet black people that would behave in a very Eurocentric way. But then the question is always asked, what is blackness? You were about to say something?
I was just about to say, like, what you were saying in regards to if you mix people identify with blackness in the case of they experience the same sort of adversities that dark-skinned people face. And what I don't quite understand is that what I've come to realize, in fact, is that, say for instance, not every dark-skinned woman experiences colorism. So is it a case of saying with mixed people, just because they experience the same thing as dark skins, that they can what's the word I'm looking for? They can say they're black, but as soon as they don't they have those experiences, then they don't identify themselves as being black. I think that's what's a bit confusing for me. And the other thing with Megan, the other issue I have as well, not issue, what I don't understand is that I just feel like you should allow people to identify with how they want to identify, because at the end of the day, Megan is mixed and Lewis is mixed, but it's not a case of us to police how people identify themselves. That's all I have to say. Yeah. Sorry guys, the presenters just run off to the toilet. I don't know how to quite carry on.
Oh, you done that?
I'm done. I don't know what else to say. I'm just rambling now.
So you disagree with my position on it?
Yeah.
I can't say what is right and I can't say what is wrong. But when we look at it anyway with Prince Harry and Meghan, I wanted to actually before I even finish that, I want to clarify a certain point. I'm trying to figure out what's the best way to really clarify it. When we look at how the caller asked, what's the definition of blackness? You know, when we look at how genetics work, you have black families that can now give birth to white children, and that this is happening. Set of twins where one's black, one's white, and so forth, even though those were mixed scenarios. It's about, when we look at genetics and genetical dominance and genetical recessiveness in terms of like gene expression. Megan, if she was with a black guy, gene expression could make her have a dark-skinned child. And likewise, because it depends on what genes she passed on to that child. If she passed on the dominant gene and the black person passed on the dominant gene, that child could come out very dark-skinned. The likelihood is that the child might be a bit lighter because of genetic mixing over the centuries, over the last 4 centuries. So likewise, you know, with the baby, they don't know how much of the genes on Megan's side will be expressed. Because if we're trying to say that you can't get white from black and so forth, or you can't get black from white, you know, we can get the different races based on the different mixes over time, because we know that in the royal family there's been black people along the way, that has been mixed out. You might get certain expressions of those past genes every generation or so, freckles, etc. But it doesn't mean that you're going to get an expression of nappy woolly hair. So with the couple recognizing the possible challenges that their son might face, I think they are too right that they want to be in a position where they're preparing a soil, preparing a society that is more accommodating, because they have their relationship to think about, as well as their child, the perception on their children or child that they already have. So the backlash from the media shows you how we are always treated, whether we want to say that we are of mixed heritage. When we go back into history and we look at when the slave master used to have a bedwarmer, and that bedwarmer produces a child, whilst that child may allow to be a slave in the house and get certain little bit of perks and better treatment than some of the other children, or some of the other slaves, I should say, it didn't denote that he was treated much away from what he was when he went outside the bounds of that home.
But I don't think anyone's disagreeing. I don't think anyone's disagreeing with that point. I just think everyone's saying what I'm saying is that we should allow people to identify with how they want to identify.
No, I can't stop her from identifying how she wants to identify.
So then she's identified being mixed, but you just said you're calling her a black woman.
No, because me call her a black woman because society denotes that. So she can call herself mixed all day, but it's how society is treating her. How is society treating her?
So are you saying that society treated us as animals, that we're animals?
I'm saying society treated us as how society views us, how we think of ourselves. We know, and I'm glad you said that. When we look at there's for those who don't know, there's a presenter in America, used to be a part of American Idol, called Nick Cannon. He also presents the show Wild 'N Out, and this show has been running for years. He came out last week and he made some comments, you know, and we know that Nick Cannon's always been studying a lot of the Black history stuff over the years, and he came out and he talked about that Europeans and European savagery, as well as us being the true Jews, and so forth. Now, we know that depending on what school of thought you are or what religious school you're in, we understood where he was coming from with that. Within the religious sense, if we're looking at Judaism and so forth, who that group was in terms of its true essence and so forth. Now, perhaps Nick couldn't verbalize himself in a more coherent manner, but the way that he came across very brash and aggressive, and as a result of that, even though what he said was true, his contracts and everything was being terminated from a lot of his roles that he had on TV in America. So it was like the slave master slapping him back to get him back in his space. When we look at society on a whole right now, and we look at even someone like, again, I mentioned earlier, Lewis Hamilton, where you have Jackie Stewart, that little old decrepit little racist looking man coming out talking about that there's no racism in F1 in Formula One. When I'm not a football fan, so I can't speak about football, but I can see when I see football on the news and I hear the monkey chanting and I see them throwing bananas on the pitch, that's blatant for all to see. Now, when Lewis Hamilton started his career, I don't know where Jackie Stewart was. His head must have been up anyway. Yeah. When Lewis Hamilton started his career, we know that as a rookie, he won the championship, but they took it from him because they took points from him. They deducted points from his tally, which made him lose the championships by 1 point. He deducted 4 or 5 points, and he lost the championship by 1 point in his rookie season. Now, this season was a season that was overseen by Max Mosley. Max Mosley is the son of Oswald Mosley, Britain's version of Adolf Hitler. You get what I'm saying? He was the head of the far-right group. It's his son. So Formula One was even spearheaded by the child of one of the biggest devils in the UK during the last 100 years. So for Jackie Stewart to be saying what he's saying, it just shows how out of touch that they've been with recognizing the difficulties that this young man would have faced. Because he's winning now, because there's adulations and recognition of his talent, it doesn't negate the fact of what he has gone through to get there. And he's highlighting that whilst I'm here now at the top, what it took me to get here, when others stand in the same position where I'm standing, they didn't have to go through the tumultuous and rocky road to get here. They had a streamline effect. If I was any weaker person psychologically, if I didn't have my father, I would not be able to stand here. And so what he's trying to do, or what he's pushing to do, is to create that avenue where people can get to that level on merit. No one's asking for handouts.
Can I quickly just interject? The whole question is that you said that how society views yourself is what you are, and you kind of went on a speech where I got lost.
No, I'm not finished yet.
Okay, I got lost there.
No, you're not lost yet. Never come back to it. Lost. So the point I'm making is whether someone views themselves as something, society will always view you in a certain way, and it with that recognition, it breeds brotherhood and sisterhood. The problem that we have, and I think I sent you a video over recent days and said, watch this video, it explains a lot. The problem that we have divisions, and this division is like intellectual divisions. We think we are so intellectual when we get to a certain level. You mentioned to me a young lady that was doing a podcast with a couple of white guys, and she wanted to seem, she wanted to see. I'm not going to advertise for them. She wanted to seem so intelligent that she started to spew about Africans being more educated and achieving more at a university level than people from the Caribbean, especially Jamaica. In Britain. Than people from the Caribbean, especially Jamaica.
Yeah.
Why did she need to make that comparison to two white men? You get what I'm saying? It's like playing up the fool. You get what I'm saying? we don't need to divide ourselves. We are already a divided people, and for looking for reasons to divide ourselves even more, the person that's pushing to divide themselves is the person that's most detrimental to that division. So you cannot be sitting there as a Jamaican and start dividing yourself from a Ghanaian. So I choose say, oh, he's Ghanaian and this is, oh, he's Nigerian, he's a fraudster and this, oh, he's this and that and that. How we come from different regions. The African diaspora, so you think every Chinaman is the same? In China, they talk about the Rohingya Muslims. They have the Tibetans. They have those over in Shanghai. They have so much different Chinese in different areas of China itself. And that's in the same country, that are completely different in their behaviors, religious thinking, and everything. Yes, they consider themselves Chinese, but they have a different complete philosophy, different behavior. Africans are the same thing. People are the same, no matter where you go in the world. Africa, you'll have a different behavior from a Nigerian to a Ghanaian, but it doesn't mean that we're different people. The moment you start to play on those different behaviors because of our geographical location within the continent, as opposed to looking at it as that we have different nuances because of where we are, and we play on those nuances to make it look like it's the lady said, who won the championship? Oh, the Africans, and yet it's an Ethiopian saying that, because an Ethiopian doesn't see themselves as an African. These are little things that we have to start to get around, and then the moment we start saying, oh, she mixed. The key thing is that we have to make sure that when it's a spoken voice, whoever is because the moment we stop recognizing a mixed person as a black person, what I'm saying, society hasn't. And when society gives a mixed person a job, they have that as they tick that box as it's a black person that get the job. So that mixed person needs to recognize that the impact on us, it will also impact on them. So as opposed to turning their back on us because they want to say they're mixed, because it's more, what's the word?
Acceptable.
It's more acceptable. The moment they start to go down that road and that path of thinking, right, is the moment then we're in a position where we're completely at a loss. And then what South Africa did, South Africa actually cut them off. Black and white cut them off. And it created a whole another category in South Africa called colored. So you see someone and you say, yo, why are you? I say, oh, I'm not black and I'm not white, I'm colored. And you're thinking, is this person smoking crack? Because now they're in this, it's like the caste system in India. They're in this bubble to think, right, they're not the worst of the worst. They're in this middle remit where they're good, they can go white folks. And that's how it's like white is the light and it's the greatness. And this is what you get when you hear people say they mix. That's what they're leaning towards. And that's why I burn a fire upon it and say, you're black. And society treats you like you're black. And when it boils down to it, you're going to get dealt with like you're black. And until they mix out enough that they don't even look black no more, and they can walk amongst the white folks without recognition, and they say they're white, then they're white. That's how I look at it. But the moment that they look a bit of shade, and that shade makes them get the same treatment amongst a far right group and an extremist, then I deal with them as they need to be recognized who they are.
Why is everything only dealt on extremities?
It's dealt on extremities because it's extremities that then leads to the outcome, whether it's the sought after outcome or the outcome that's not sought after. It's the extremities that realizes that. And until we recognize that these extremities are black and white, that's an extremity, black and white. People say, what about the shades of gray? It's black and white. Racism is black and white. I don't see the gray areas in racism. Racism is black and white. And when I say racism is black and white, there was I'm rolling on to the other subject matter that was in the news.
But
you
didn't
had
even answer the question of society views you as animals, so therefore you are animals.
society views in terms of saying that we're animals. That's a psychological trick.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't. When you look at what an animal is by definition,
Mm-hmm.
and even what society calls themselves,
Mm-hmm.
they're telling you who they are. So if you don't understand the words of society, you will go by the trick of what they're saying.
Mm-hmm.
Society calls us animals,
Mm-hmm.
and they have a lot of youths behaving like animals amongst themselves. And that's a fact. You know, they have a lot of youths behaving like animals amongst themselves.
Mm-hmm.
Because society calls them animals.
Mm-hmm.
So we have to recognize of how the impact of society impacts us.
Mm-hmm.
We cannot bury our heads in the sand and say, no, because society calls us animals, we are not animals. But yet you have a lot of youths that are out there behaving animalistic. You can't reason with some of these youths,
Mm-hmm.
whether it's drug influence or whether it's just how they were brought up influence, because they may not have been brought up in any structured setting where they can they have all kind of, for using the technical terms, all kind of attachment disorders and behavioral disruptive issues.
Mm-hmm.
You get what I'm saying? So
they're saying because you've called them that, they're
they
acting
manifest that in their own behavior.
So then what you're saying is by calling a person of mixed heritage black, they're gonna manifest them being
They need
black.
to start recognizing who they are, because no matter what Megan want to call herself, Britain will always treat her for the black side. It's not the white side Britain recognize. The white side probably make Britain never burn down the castle when they were getting married. You get what I'm saying? But she should always recognize who she is in terms of how they're going to treat her.
She does recognize.
I don't think she does.
She's saying she's mixed.
I don't think
she does, because she's speaking on racism. So she is identifying that, because she is speaking on racism.
No, she mixed. I agree she mixed, but she black.
Oh Lord.
She mixed, but no, when I say you can be mixed and white, because you can be mixed. This is what I'm saying. You can be mixed and white, and you can be mixed and black. It's black and white. There's no gray areas. You're not mixed.
So then why did you put mixed in the front of it?
No, I'm saying because. Okay, what's this you're saying?
It's causing confusion. I'm not gonna lie.
Am I causing confusion?
Oh, you're causing confusion in my head.
0753-996-8143. Let me give it again. 0753-996-8143. Am I causing confusion? That's not what my aim is. Can someone help? Let me know where me I go wrong, or let me know if you understand what I'm saying. It'll be interesting to hear from you, because this is what's being this is at the forefront of what's taking place without a conversation in the media right now, because everyone on the Black Lives Matter front is either mixed, LGBTQ, A, B, C, D, 1, 2, 3, 5, 6, 7, 10. But you never, I don't care, but you never see a fully black. So we have to make sure that no matter if they want to choose a letter from the alphabet, or whether they want to say they're mixed, they have to recognize the blackness and how society will treat them. So that to say you will always be seen as that first.
No, but
because a lot of people are they betray that thing. I will make sure say them now go betray that thing. Someone shouldn't betray that thing because them a man will love an next man. They need to know so them a black man first. They shouldn't betray that thing because them a man will want dressed like a woman. Them a black man first. You get what I'm saying? And the problem is that we have so much people betraying the who they are, whether it's on sexual grounds or on political grounds or on wanting to be accepted grounds. Because it's like they're ashamed to be a black man first or a woman first.
Because you've just identified blackness in only a negative light. So the way that the way
Mhm.
society treats you, it makes you, determines you as being black. Okay, the way society treats you it determines you being black. So that's why it's kind of seen as a badge of shame, because you're saying blackness is only associated if you experience these sort of things.
No, you're right with that. What I'm saying is that we're experiencing these things. So let me learn clarity. We're experiencing these things because of the lack of unity, the lack of and this is why I support Black Lives Matter, not because I support Black Lives Matter because they're getting results, and we have to support each other. We can't be that crab in a barrel mentality to say no, my way is the right way. Once we get in results, it's about right. Good, we're moving in the right direction. We're getting recognition. We're getting results. How else can we, whilst we're doing that in the forefront, that's the forefront. In the background, what's taking place? How are we formulating to make sure that we all benefit from this? Because that's what it's about, us all benefiting. It's not about the mixed kids benefiting and we don't. It's not about the LGBTQZ blacks benefiting and we don't. It's about everybody benefiting. You know what I'm saying? And when they talk about, that LGBT blacks matter, because I see people talking like that. They are more accepted in white society than us. They might, you get what I'm saying? So I don't understand when they say, you know what I'm saying? They are more accepted, and a lot of the behaviors. There was a comedy in the 80s, and I don't mean to reduce this to humor, but there was a comedy in the 80s where a guy was speaking with a lisp, and he was speaking as if he was one of the letters, right? Because he was speaking like he was I don't want to say. He was speaking like one of the letters, and they catch him around the corner chatting roads or gangster to someone, yeah? And the guy goes, "Hey man, what's going on?" And he rolled his head and said, "Oh man," like he get catch and go, "Listen man, don't try and mess up my hustle, because these people don't accept you unless they think once they see you as being aggressive, an aggressive black, it's hard for you to go through the door. But if they see that you are
Amenable.
or passive, you know what I mean? Like, so he's taken on a feminine quality as if he was, you know what I mean? So that he could get through the door. And a lot of guys, this is a standing view. This isn't something that is new. I'm not saying that everyone does that, you know what I mean? But I'm saying they get through the door faster. Look who got the funding. Who received the funding from the billionaire to start Black Lives Matter? It wasn't some sisters with their fist up in the air saying Black Power.
I thought it was 3 black women.
It's 3 black women, but I'm saying it wasn't 3 black women with their fist in the air saying Black Power. It's because of certain affiliations why they got that.
I didn't read that. That's not right.
You need to read it.
Yeah.
So the point I'm making is like, but we still support the sisters because they might achieve greatness. I'm saying I'm not them. And that's why I'm not saying certain things out loud. So we have to also have the narrative to say, that's my thinking. I could be wrong. 0753 996 8143. 0753 996 8143. We have to, move forward as one. I don't want to hear somebody say, "Oh, them are this, or them are that," and them. You're a black person first. I don't care about a person's sexuality. I don't care about I don't want to know about a person's sexuality, to be quite frank. I don't care. Not my business. I don't care about what the other one. What I don't want to hear about mix and this and that. If you have got through the same hardship because one of your parents look like me.
But it's not necessarily the same.
Now if them not go through the hardship, then I don't want them to talk. It doesn't mean the hardship makes them black. It means the hardship makes them understand the struggles, and they understand what the pitfalls are. Because just like how certain white people have no idea of what the struggles and the pitfalls are, they'll make stupid comments. We don't need that. If you understand it, if you don't understand it, keep quiet. If I don't understand something, I'm not going to be there to jump on that wagon there, or not to jump on that wagon. I'll leave it to have that debate. The part that I understand is the struggles of the Black Lives Matter, for example, for lack of a better word. And that's what I'm harping on about. When anything else wants to jump on that, because I don't understand it, and it's not a part of what the true ethics of this is. You know what I mean? It's not a sexual gender that made the police kneel on the man's neck. It's not it's the color and skin. It's not you get what I'm saying? So these little things, they need to be, that's the key thing. Once we resolve that, we resolve everything, because that's what they see first. And if people see people and they see them as people, whether they see them as black people, what level of fear, level of respect in the same way, then the next situation is that they will be judged in the same way. So whether, you know what I mean, just like a white person who's of a different sexual orientation will be judged, they get the same judgment if that is the case. So that's the undertone that we have to resolve initially. In my thinking, I could be wrong.
7 minutes.
Huh?
7 minutes.
I could be wrong. But so yeah, so that's what I mean by that. So no, we're not defined by that, and I don't let that define me. But I'm just saying, if someone's going to speak up for us, then you must have that experience. You must have that understanding or that recognition. And for those who don't, then be quiet and stay by the wayside. You know what I mean? I wouldn't go down to an event that don't represent me and start nice and I go on about all this and all that. I don't business with it. You get what I mean? Does that make sense?
Makes sense, yeah.
Okay, cool. All right. But you say it makes sense, I go run now. You know what? That being said, right? That being said, the last but not least, before we wrap up and we start taking the calls, we push to get some calls. We want to hear some calls on the other side of the news on the advert at 10 o'clock. You know, we want to get some calls on the discussion. You know, T.I., for those who don't know, he's come out and he's talked about the other entertainers, some key prominent entertainers in the United States, Jay-Z and others. They're pushing for reparation money from predominantly the major players such as Lloyd's in London. And he's highlighting that I think he's speaking to Black Americans the way he's saying it. I wish he was speaking to all Black folks, you know, that's gone through the slavery struggle. So Jamaicans and Haitians and everybody that's applicable to the people and that they're going to, as opposed to just Black Americans. You know what I mean? Because, like, again, you know, that division thing is no good. You know what I'm saying? So that they can get they can push for the remedy for just what, Black Americans? Come on, man. Push it for everybody. Anybody that was affected by slavery. You know what I mean? So, yeah, but anyway, that being said, which is a good thing anyway that they're doing this, nonetheless. They're pushing, and they've in a sense put Lloyd's of London on notice that they will be seeking some 10% perhaps annually, so that Black folks can get some reparations for slavery. What do you think about that? Have you heard about that? You know, so that's what I'm saying. This movement, Black Lives Matter, it's really done great stuff, and irrespective of whatever the impetus of who started it, you know, the direction that it's gone into can be utilized for so much good. I just feel a bit aggrieved that a lot of the funding's gone to institutions that ain't Black orientated or nothing to do of interest for us. So it's like they're pimping our cause to make money. But in another sense, there's a lot being achieved, you know. So credit to the sisters that are spearheading that in for that much, and credit to everyone else that, you know, is helping to keep the momentum going. We know that it definitely needs to keep going, because we know that not only in America, but in the UK, a police officer knelt in the neck of a black man here in the UK. And for that reason, I want Crusader Dick, the head of the Metropolitan Police, to step down, resign. She has no control over these idiot police officers on the streets. We have good officers on the streets, but she, as the Met Commissioner, she has no control over the idiots. Because that guy that knelt in the neck of the man, he did that purposely. He knew exactly what he was doing. And if that was me, let me catch myself before I say something that, you know what I'm saying? But no boy can't edit. But boy I try kneel in my neck, you know, find out something different. You get me? Remember me tell you that for free. So what I would say is that if the commission, these officers don't respect this commissioner, you get me? They don't, because she's coming on TV and she's creating the atmosphere for them not to respect her, because she's coming on TV and she's supporting the slackness and the bad behavior of these officers. When they draw down the athlete girl, she come out and go, well, I don't think nothing. You see her mouth look like it smell like tuna or sardine. You get me? That she needs to step down. You get me? Let's just look at, you know what I mean? She just look like one stink mouth woman. You get me? She just needs to step down because she's not in control. And even when this incident has come out, rather than being the lead proponent of coming out and condemning it, you ain't even seen her on TV. She's not made one comment on the matter. The deputy commissioner has come out and said something, not her. Slackness. So I told her she don't like you people. She don't like us. I say you people like me and owner. Yeah, she don't like us. You get me? See, I tell you about that division thing. You get me? She don't like us. You get me? I said like she like me, innit? Yeah? She don't like us. She needs to step down, give up the role. But not only do they don't respect her, and either they don't respect her or they're doing exactly what she wants them to do. It's one of the two. And either way, the answers for both mean she needs to step down, make way. Because she couldn't even come out and condemn it. You know, she couldn't even come out herself and condemn it. That was a perfect opportunity to show that the Met has zero tolerance for stuff like that. The officer should have been sacked. She should have come out and condemn it. And today I'd have been saying, boy, they have to go big up Crusader Dickhead of the Metropolitan Police because she done well. But I can't come out and say that today because she didn't represent the office. You know, she's placed the office in disrepute as far as I'm concerned. You know, and so the movement and the cry is to carry on. We know that there's fresh riots in America, but we're going to have to take a pause because, see, there was enough news this week. You know what I mean? So much news this week. We take a pause for the cause and we catch you on the other side.